race fans. Welcome to today's feature event, the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction. Today we're bringing you the action 1080p 60 frames a second on behalf of the Team Goon Squad broadcasting channel here at the Red Bull Ring. Drivers getting ready to take to the field for single car qualifying, and we're going to get this party started early on. These drivers do have 15 minutes of qualifying here today. As a smaller field here today, a lot of drivers across the iRacing service coming out and racing the 24 hours of Le Mans today. As we see Mark the Doc Proctor tune in, cheering on all his favorite drivers at the Legacy Sports Car Series. Always good to see Mark coming in and supporting all of his favorite drivers and his favorite Legacy stream. We're going to keep the camera on Cody Mars Ledford in the number 4 in the LMP2 class. Ledford always finds a way to get to the highlight reel, whether he means to or not. But definitely a smaller field here today. In the LMP2 class, you've got Nick Terrell leading the points chase. Casey Carrington running in second, Cody Ledford third, and then Alex Penn in fourth. Penn, Ledford, and Terrell all making it here today. Casey Carrington has the day off as he's competing in that 24-hour event, trying to score some good points for his team. In the Daytona Prototype class, you've got Jack Forsey. He's currently third in points, the lone Daytona Prototype driver out there today. Johnny Eckert not able to make it with Outlaw Racing. Ahmed, a.k.a. Echo, and Pinarchy Racing Team also not able to make it. And one of our favorites, Mr. Thiel, not showing up today. I believe he may be running one of the 24-hour events. That's the Daytona Prototype breakdown. So that will allow Jack Forsey to gain some massive points here around 3. Meanwhile, it's also a lonely crowd in the GT1 class. DJ Weeks Jr., the only driver showing up, Charles Bochelle, not able to make it here today. Bochelle with Oblivion Racing, and then Dennis Weeks Jr., he's with Outlaw Racing. And one more update, you've got Outlaw Racing still out front in the team championship. They've got a large lead over Pinarchy Racing. Pinarchy finds themselves 558 points behind first place Outlaw Racing. And you've also got Oblivion Racing still in the running. They lost a spot to Pinarchy last week. They find themselves 836 points down in the team chase. Cody Ledford having a bit of a moment there. Looks like that might have been around turn 3 where he threw it off the racetrack. He's going to take a quick tow back to pit lane and get back out there. Andrew Neri also hopping in today, cheering on his favorite drivers. We've seen Neri in other series across the iRacing service doing his best to get out there and run. So shame not to see him out here today with the Legacy Sports Car guys, but we understand that Andrew Neri's been practicing for the Daytona 24-hour race as well as a few different oval ventures in the past. So good to see him tuning in and supporting the broadcast today. As always, if you're tuning in, thank you to guys from across the country and the globe that show up and cheer on their favorite drivers and help support the Legacy Sports Car Series, as well as your broadcaster. We couldn't do it without you guys. As we're still watching Cody Ledford make his way around, let's check out Alex Penn in the number 30 machine in his LMP2. Penn's best lap of the session so far was a 121.88. So Penn right now looking like he may be the prototype driver to beat, as we're going to wait and see what the other guys do. Cody Ledford has not been able to put down a qualifying lap yet, nor has Nick Terrell. But they still have plenty of time to make something happen. It's a 15-minute qualifying. They've got about 11 minutes left in this session and closing. Before we get ready for the main event, where it'll be 45 laps here around Red Bull Ring. A very, very fast, very, very technical track at certain points. One of those tracks where it can really give you a lot of opportunities to hold it wide open and let the tires dig in and go fast. And other points, you have to really slow it down to make some of the tight, decreasing sections. We're going to take a look at Alex Penn as he gets ready to go into turn 3. A little bit of a bend here in turn 4 before he goes into the Power Horse corner, aka turn 5. That left-hander that hooks you around a very brief straightaway, and then once again into turn 6, the red dot signifies split sections on the track. Lets you know what their splits are going to be. Penn doing a great job getting through turn 7, a very, very fast section down the hill into turn 8. A last 90-degree turn into turn 9, and he's going to hold it wide open down the start-finish line straight to that sharp right-hand turn 1. Let's see, Penn, he puts down a 1:21.76 his last time by. So we're going to wait and see what Nick Terrell can answer for him in the number 81. Terrell running the Taco Bell sponsored LMP2 today. A lot of very talented drivers out here. Again, this is round 3, so some of the drivers had a lot of opportunities to get used to the cars, how they handle, as well as what they can get away with competitors around them. Nick Terrell coming through 5 and 6, a little bit of a right-hander into 7. About 8 minutes left in qualifying. So plenty of time for these drivers to get out there and hammer down some laps. As let's see what Terrell does as he crosses the line. Clicks off a 1:22.52, so about 0.8 of a second off of current pole setter Alex Penn. Meanwhile, Jack Forsey finds himself leading his class, DJ Weeks Jr. in his class. Cody Ledford has not been able to put down a lap time yet. Let's give a quick check on the number 4. Ledford looks like he's coming through 5 and 6 right there. Ledford's going to take that final straight to the start-finish line. Ledford, we'll see what time he does. I do not see if we're going to have one count or not. As Ledford dives into 1, so that might have been his outlap. Cody Ledford in the number 4. It almost looks like Cody's track map is broken and not updated. I'm not sure what Ledford has going on with him. Because if you check with Alex Penn, he's in the right spot on the map. Nick Terrell on the right spot on the map. But you go to Cody Ledford, everything's broken. So I'm not sure what happened that Ledford's times aren't counting. Maybe he was disqualified somehow. I don't see how he would do that this early on. Let's look at Jack Forsey in the Daytona prototype. He's coming around that very, very sharp turn 2, that decreasing radius corner, almost a switchback. Then again, it's wide open into turn 3, down the hill, charging hard. Swooping it around into turn 4. A very, very fun track to drive. I had the opportunity to hop in the car before these guys took to the field. Didn't want to interfere with any of the fast guys out there. but a very, very fun and rewarding track. It seems pretty easy. Gives you a lot of runoff to make a little bit of mistakes, but one of those tracks where you have to absolutely hang it on the line to put down fast and consistent times. With a 45-minute race and feature event here today, these drivers know consistency is going to be king. The less incident you find yourself involved with, the better. As we're going to see Forsey cross the line in his number 74 machine, puts down a 127.62. Now, one of my favorite parts about this league is so many different classes out there. You've got the LMP2s that are insanely fast, but you've also got these Daytona prototypes and the GT1 schedule where they run very, very similar times, all things considered. So DJ Weeks in the GT1 class runs almost an identical pace to Jack Forsey in the Daytona prototype. For some reason, Cody Ledford's still not showing up as putting down a time. Johnny Eckert has made it into tonight's race in the Daytona prototype class. Now, last week we saw Eckert and Forsey put on a spectacular show for so many laps here at Road Atlanta. We had the pleasure of broadcasting. It was a lot of fun to watch. These guys were hanging out side by side for all sorts of laps at a time. And then unfortunately, I believe it was Forsey involved in an incident that sent him back to the paddock getting repairs on his Daytona prototype machine. But those guys put on a fantastic show there last week. We're really hoping up here in the booth and for everyone at home's sake as well, they can put on another great show. Red Bull Ring, also known as the prior Austrian Grand Prix, a very, very fast track out here. These guys are going to get used to going at speeds that may be a little bit new for them. They race Formula One, they race motorcycles, MotoGP races here. 2014, 2016, they also hosted a round of the Red Bull Air Race. So if you ever had the opportunity to see on your TV the air pilots that dodged, dipped, and dived between the large inflatable pylons, also in that. So Red Bull Ring's been the host of a lot of cool stuff over the years. Last time F1 ran at this track, Max Verstappen won both races from pole. So Verstappen was able to check out after getting that early pole in his races and then ran pretty much uncontested the entire time. This track, especially on these slower cars compared to a Formula One car, allows a lot of good drafting and passing opportunities. Take a look at Johnny Eckert and his number 90 Daytona prototype. He's only got about a minute and a half left in qualifying, so he can do his best to try and put down a lap, but just as we pan to him, Eckert has problems, goes off track. Eckert's going to get back out there. I believe that was in turn 9 he had that issue. It was not turn 9. That might have been into 3, I believe. So now he's going through 5 and 6. Little right-hander through 7. And then he'll stand on the loud pedal of that Daytona prototype number 90 of the Outlaw Racing crew. And then dive into turn 8. So he knows, hey, I'm probably not going to get a qualifying lap at all at this point. So Eckert will be starting in last with his class. He was not able to get down a lap time compared to Jack Forsey in the number 74. Cody Ledford still having problems, unable to put down a qualifying time, getting used to that LMP2, going back to the garage to make a couple changes. Nick Terrell, he has an off track as well, and the number 81, and decides we'll just go back to the pit lane. So we'll go back to Johnny Eckert, who's struggling to put down a lap time here. Just got here very late in the session, must have had something else going on. And we're going to get ready to grid up all these professional esports drivers on the Legacy Sports Car Series. 45 minutes for all of these guys to hammer down and make something happen. Everybody trying to gain some points here, what is a bit of a slow week for a lot of different drivers. That was Jack Forsey yielding the position to Johnny Eckert, so Eckert can put down a great time and try and get back out there. And let's get ready to get this party started here at the Red Bull Ring. Starting up front for the LMP2s, it's going to be Alex Penn, Nick Terrell, Jack Forsey will be starting the second row with DJ Weeks Jr. next to him. Then Cody Ledford fifth with Johnny Eckert unable to put down a qualifying time. But it's time to go, and they are going to. As Alex Penn starting on pole. These guys are going to take quite the warm-up lap behind our iRacing pace vehicle. Alex Penn on pole. Penn currently fourth in points. He's only made one race so far this season. So he's going to try and get out there, score some points, and get back out front. Alex Penn with his one and only start was at Road Atlanta. He started second and finished second with only 2 incident points. So Penn trying to get up in the mix of it. But keep an eye on Nick Terrell. He's won rounds 1 and 2. The first one at Daytona, the second one at Road Atlanta. So Terrell, even though he will be starting in last for his class, is going to try and get up there and put down some great laps and see if he can make it 3 for 3 at Red Bull Ring. But they're going to come around onto the start-finish line. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to start this party, and there they go. Alex Penn with a great launch. Nick Terrell on his outside. They're going to dive into turn 1, a very, very tight behind them. It's a 3-way battle for the position. Jack Forsey, DJ Weeks, both up there. Cody Ledford, he's tailed behind Johnny Eckert right now. So let's go back to the front. Nick Terrell, Alex Penn running right nose to tail into that very sharp right-hander of turn 1. They're going to charge, turn 2. They're going to charge down the straight into turn 3. It's down a hill, so they're going to be hard on the brakes into the right-hander. But here we go. It's going to be a 45-minute race. anything can happen, as we've seen at Daytona and Road Atlanta. It just takes one moment of misfortune to find your points chase in deep, deep trouble. Terrell finds himself about 0.8 of a second back from Alex Penn. But Terrell able to keep that draft as well, which is very important on some of these tracks where you're able to be a little bit slower in some of the corners, but the draft really helps you out, allows you to kind of reel back in that car in front of you. Still, anything can happen. It's a long race. Terrell happy to keep Penn just in front of him. Alex Penn, a real-life go-kart driver. He's got a license for the SCCA, so no stranger to going fast and turning left and right. We've broadcasted a couple different leagues that we find Penn in. Always doing a great job and keeping it clean, as his last time by was a 126.50 compared to Nick Terrell's 127.28. And right now Penn holds a we'll call it about a 1.10 second gap over his second place Nick Terrell. Penn out there racing for PA Posse, doing a great job. And look at that, Terrell found a little bit of speed, able to reel in Penn just a little bit there. Whittles away that gap, gains 0.3 of a second, 0.4 of a second as they go into turn one. And here we come into that sharp right-hander. You have to really slow the cars down at the bottom of this small hill. This shows where the gap has been and where at. So a lot of these guys doing a great job. It looks like Penn able to extend that gap just little by little every lap. We'll see what it shows on lap 3 when they come around. But right now these guys absolutely hauling 140 miles an hour into the corner before having to slow her down. I'm going to be interested to see what they do later on in some of their very fast sections right now as they dive into 5 and 6. We'll see what he does on this straightaway coming out of 7 before diving into turn 8. So about 154 is I think the highest we read right there, and still 100 miles an hour plus all the way through the corner. So these guys really carrying some good corner speed in these LMP2s. These high downforce machines, the faster you are going, the happier those cars are. So all these guys doing a great job. Let's take a look back again at that time delta. And it shows that, yes, Alex Penn able to consistently get that bigger gap over his competitor, Nick Terrell. Let's see how the sectors compare between Penn and Terrell as they make their way around the track. Terrell just a smidgen slower, it looks like, 0.04 of a second for Sector 1. Interesting to see what Sector 2 is going to be. There it is. So Terrell losing about 0.2 of a second there on Sector 2. So Terrell currently still figuring things out in Sector 2. A lot of that can be contributed to maybe not having as much seat time or familiarity at this track. So let's see, Penn's still doing a fantastic job. His brother is the owner of the series and acts as race control, Joseph Penn. As Terrell still within 0.05 of a second in Sector 3, so it looks like Sector 2 is where Terrell is having all those issues at. We're taking a little bit further back in the field here. Here's Jack Forsey. He's currently leading DJ Weeks Jr. across the start-finish line track. Both these guys are in different classes today. And I believe we've got Johnny Eckert may have problems. I'm not sure what happened to Eckert. For some reason, Eckert's times aren't registering on live time and scoring. We'll have to see what's going on with that. See if we can reload live timing here. Yeah, for some reason, Eckert's not showing on live time and scoring. We saw the same thing for Ledford earlier. And did not record his last lap, so not quite sure what's going on, but we'll try and get it dialed in here for you. Forsey doing a great job in his Daytona prototype. His last lap by was 1 minute 27 seconds compared to DJ Weeks Jr.'s 1 minute 28 flat. Now, DJ is in a slower class car, but he is just fast enough to keep that Daytona prototype right in front of him. And that will allow DJ to continually use that draft all the way around this racetrack and really lower his average time out here. Average lap is about 1 minute 22 for the fast guys out front. So it'll be quite a while before you start seeing lap track. It may be the first lapper of the day will maybe Eckert at this point. He finds himself about 46 seconds behind race leader Alex Penn. Forsey, you can see how that gap has been going back and forth over DJ Weeks Jr. Weeks keeping him right in tow there. Forsey with a 21.293 through Sector 1. Weeks was the faster driver there. But it looks now that DJ may have been shaken off by Forsey in the number 74. Let's switch over to Cody Mars Ledford in the number 4 machine. So we did get an update from Race Control, Joseph Penn, that iRacing doesn't have. He's not seeing times updated from Atvo or SDK, two of the big broadcasting softwares and great tools for different camera angles. Really, pretty much anything you can do with iRacing. But now we're starting to see Eckert on screen, so something might have happened, but it appears to be a problem with iRacing itself having a bit of a moment. As Cody Mars Ledford doing a good job, but we see here DJ. I'm not really sure what's happening here. Lifetime is doing a bunch of weird stuff. It shows Johnny Eckert, DJ Weeks involved in an incident. We'll check that one out very quickly and see if that actually was an incident or if maybe iRacing has lost its mind up in here. There's Cody Ledford on the inside, Eckert on the outside. And it looks like Eckert just kind of snapped it loose and spun her around. And we showed DJ Weeks Jr. He also had an incident. DJ in the number 997 machine. That Corvette, just a little bit too much apron and sends him around. But as far as crashes goes, guys are able to keep it off the wall and doing a fantastic job. Alex Penn still out front. He's got about a 3.4 second gap over Nick Terrell in second place. He has already lapped Eckert and Cody Ledford. As I believe we see a few of the guys get ready to come into pit lane. No, Eckert has an off track, but is able to maintain pace and keep it pointing in the right direction. A long race for these drivers to keep it out there and keep it clean. Alex Penn, he's been a very, very fast driver. His last lap time was a 1:22.65. His best was a 1 minute 22.17, so Penn is running very quick and very consistent. Nick Terrell, his best in the session was a 1 minute 22 second .48 lap time, and his last time by was a 1 minute 22 seconds .42. So both of these guys maintaining a very, very steady, consistent pace. It is a race that will be decided by hundredths of a second over the course of 45 minutes. Penn doing a fantastic job running out front. Terrell, he can see him in front of him, but knows he just has to be just a little bit more consistent and faster as the run develops. So you can see that that gap's been getting a little bit bigger since that lap 3. So from lap 3 to 8, he went from 1.5 seconds back to 3.564 seconds back. So Terrell is going to try and get some stuff figured out so he can get back up there and in the mix of it, possibly before these guys have to pit at the Red Bull Ring. They've lapped pretty much the entire field at this point. Both of them are doing a great job clicking them off. And again, staying very consistent. That's the biggest thing for these guys, is just being able to stay consistent. Terrell a little bit faster than Penn in sector 1. Let's see what he can click off this go around. So we're expecting about a 34 lap race here today. At these lap times, maybe a couple laps less, as these guys have to account for fuel and tire strategy. It's coming into pit lane, but for the most part, we're going to see about 34 laps over the course of 45 minutes. We're about 14 laps into, or 14 minutes, excuse me, into it, as we click off lap 10, and we're going to watch Nick Terrell take it back up the start-finish line straight and get ready to start lap 11. Terrell doing a great job, very consistent. Alex Penn did a 1 minute 22 second flat last lap, and then Nick Terrell did a 1 minute 22.14. So it looks to me like Terrell is starting to get a little bit more pace here. No, I believe Alex Penn did get an off track on that last lap, so he will not have that 122 flat counted as his best time. Same for Nick Terrell, so still showing as a 1 minute 22.41 as his best of the race so far. So if you're new to iRacing and sim racing, if you go off track in the game registers, excuse me, the simulator registers that you're off track, they will not count that lap as a possible fast lap, signifying you may have been able to cut the track or gain some sort of other advantage. Nick Terrell finding himself about 0.03 of a second faster that last time by, so Terrell's starting to slowly get it dialed in. And that one did count for his best lap in the session, as he does another blazing fast lap time. Feels like Terrell's starting to slowly get something working out here, and he's starting to gain time inch by inch. And over this long race, he may be able to do it, but right now he's about 3.2 seconds back. Let's go look at DJ Weeks Jr. He's got Cody Ledford right involved with him. Ledford in the faster LMP2 class. DJ Weeks, though, spins it all on his own. Cody Ledford looks like he was able to woe it up in time. Not sure if DJ got a little bit spooked there, too much brakes. Ledford locks it up and avoids hitting the number 997. So DJ Weeks will get back out on track and start clicking them off. Unfortunately, that's going to put him way back. The good news is he is still leading the GT1 class by a comfortable margin. So DJ is going to get back out there, start clicking off some laps, and gain some more points. And here comes lap traffic. You see Johnny Eckert, Cody Ledford, all getting ready for Alex Penn, who's made his way by Nick Terrell. He's going to punch through traffic now. Alex Penn looking in a good spot here to gain some points, as Cody Ledford having a rough go. Nick Terrell, our current points leader, still running second, so very good on his behalf. But Penn's going to keep charging hard for the remainder of this season to try and salvage more and more points, as Eckert has another moment. He goes off track. We're at Red Bull Ring today. Next week is Auto Club Speedway. Then we go to Montreal, Sonoma, Road America, Mosport, Motegi, Silverstone, an unknown race for the week 11 race for this series. And then our season finale, September 11th, will be at Homestead. So still a lot of good racing left to go. If you're watching along at home, give the guys at Legacy Sports Car a shout. We have them added as an official partner in the Team Goon Squad Discord, trying to send as many drivers as we can their way. Nick Terrell still doing a great job in front of him. I believe that's Cody Ledford, the number 4 machine. Ledford still 1 lap down. Meanwhile, Alex Penn still holds a comfortable 4-second gap, almost a 5-second gap to second place Nick Terrell, as we get ready to click off at the 20-minute mark. So Cody Ledford going to allow the leading cars by. Well done to Ledford, always a professional. Still lots of good racing remaining, and that camera right there shows you just how much speed these LMP2s are cycling around the track. But let's look, Cody Ledford has an incident. Watch Cody Ledford in the number 4. Let's see what happens here. Just locks it up and goes off track. So as far as bad news go, could have been much worse. Alex Penn still comfortably out front. Alex Penn, I believe, has 3 off tracks. So does Nick Terrell. Jack Forsey's currently got the lowest incident points with 2. DJ Weeks Jr. has 1. And then Cody Ledford, Johnny Eckert, they've racked up a couple incident points here at the Red Bull Speedway, trying to get things dialed in and used to these cars. The Red Bull Ring, I should say. Alex Penn catching up to Jack Forsey in the 74. Now Alex Penn's going to be very careful getting around lap traffic. He knows he can't make any mistakes or get himself involved in any tricky situation, but makes quick work of the Daytona prototype as Forsey is going to drop in tow behind Alex Penn. And you can see the speed difference of these 2 cars. Using every bit of the apron he possibly can. Did Alex Penn just have a moment? I think he did. So Alex Penn has a big moment in the number 30. Looks like he kept it pretty clean there. But, oh, that could have been much worse for the number 30. Oh no, something else happened. That's Jack Forsey has a moment. Jack Forsey goes off track. Forsey in 74, just too much gas out of that right-hander, spins it around into the inside wall. So Forsey will probably be coming in on his next lap to get some damage repaired. Meanwhile, Alex Penn, he's lost that big gap we saw early on. It's only about 1.5 seconds separates him between Nick Terrell, currently running second. We said it earlier on the broadcast, all it takes is one moment for you to really start losing that lead. Alex Penn, Nick Terrell still doing a great job out front despite Alex Penn's big moment. Kept the number 30 clean. Oh, the gap has really whittled down here at the Red Bull Ring. Nick Terrell, for the first time in several laps, has clear eyes on race leader Alex Penn. You can see that lap 17, that gap rapidly dropped. Alex Penn did a 1-minute 25-second lap his last time by. Nick Terrell getting on the gas with a 1-minute 22 seconds. Let's see what it updates here. So Alex Penn really got on the gas. He did a 1-minute 21.97. Nick Terrell with a 1-minute 21.85. Both these guys are setting their fastest laps of the race so far. As Penn knows, hey, I've got to get on the gas as quick as I can. He does not want to have a battle here right now. He wants to get out front and stay out front. Let's see, though. Can Nick Terrell have anything for him? Is he going to be able to reel him in as they charge down the hill into turn 3? Or will Alex Penn get back in the groove and start to check out? Johnny Eckert has a big crash. Let's grab the replay of that one. Eckert in the number 90 Daytona prototype. Let's see what happens going into turn 1 here. Hits too much curb, and that can really unsettle your car and send it spin around. Eckert decides to use up a little bit of that tire. He's going to warm up the tires a little bit too much there. That'll allow DJ Weeks Jr. to get around comfortably with no incident. Meanwhile, up front, Alex Penn still holds that. Oh, no. What was... Penn comes into pit lane. That was an odd angle. We haven't really seen it all night, so Penn's going to come in a little bit early. Terrell's going to stay out. Cody Ledford comes in. So Nick Terrell, the lone LMP2 driver, stays out. Pretty much the entire field has come in at this point. Alex Penn was the first one to fire it off. Cody Ledford came in. Jack Forsey, Alex Penn, DJ Weeks Jr. Now we've got Johnny Eckert coming in as well in his number 90 Daytona prototype. And then Terrell here is going to put most of the field down a large section. Very long pit stops that we're seeing. Alex Penn may have had a speeding penalty. He's been in his pit box for 50 seconds so far. Jack Forsey was in and out in 15 from his box. Cody Ledford was trying to fix repairs, was in and out with 32. So yes, Alex Penn has a 54-second pit stop. So he may have gotten a speeding penalty there. As you can see how hard on the gas, on the brakes, Nick Terrell had to get down. Terrell, the lone driver, stretching it out to lap 20. We are more than halfway through the race for these drivers as Nick Terrell is on lap 20. Everyone else still on lap 19 or 18 for these slower car classes. Let's see how quickly Nick Terrell gets in and out of pit lane. Or is that just how long a pit stop takes on an LMP2? Jacks the whole car up in the air, does 4 tires all the way around. And Terrell in and out of his box in 30.43 seconds. So again, I believe Alex Penn had something going on in pit lane that really, really hurt him on the overall race. He's going to be about 1 minute and 13 seconds behind Nick Terrell as Terrell leaves the pits. And things are really getting shaken up here at the Red Bull Ring. Less than 20 minutes to go for these drivers. Now Terrell's got to be careful. He's coming out on new tires compared to what he's been used to running and a full race car when it comes to fuel. So these drivers, they kind of get accustomed to driving a certain way with the tire wear and lighter cars. Then you go back out with a heavier car with slicker tires until they warm up. And the next thing you know, things can get a little bit spicy and dicey. So let's see what type of times Terrell can put down. So interested to see what he's going to be able to do on this fast lap here. Now, Terrell, his best was a 1 minute 21.85 seconds of the race. This lap will probably have his pit time included in the lap time. It did not. A 1 minute 28 second lap time from Nick Terrell. As he gets used to going up pace. Alex Penn put down another blistering lap time. A 1 minute 21 second pit time. Or not pit time, lap time. So the 81, he's diving into turn 3. Meanwhile, keep an eye on the number 30 who's been able to gain a whole bunch of time. He finds himself only a 16-second gap right now to race leader Nick Terrell. Alex Penn's going to come up on lap traffic. That's Jack Forsey in front of him in the 74 Daytona prototype. A very, very fun racetrack to drive on. Very wide, lots of runoff to, in case you come in a little bit hot, you're not going to get immediately punished with a gravel track. And that's the difference that you'll see at a lot of these international circuits compared to a stateside circuit. Some of the statesides will be heavy on the gravel and low on the runoff. The idea is it's safer for these drivers to have as much braking surface as possible before they run into a barrier or a gravel stop or something of that sort, and only gravel in the absolute most necessary spots. Oh, look at that though. Alex Penn has almost a bit of a moment going over the banking. Now he's side by side with the Daytona prototype driver, number 74, Jack Forsey. Forsey gets back behind him and falls in line. That will allow Penn to get through turn 2 safe and sound and start charging back up. He's trying to whittle away at that 15.75 second gap that race leader Nick Terrell currently has. Terrell still out front. Then you've got Penn 16 seconds behind him, but he looks like he's closing it down just a little bit. Now Terrell had problems that last lap. His lap that last time by was 1 minute 28 seconds compared to Alex Penn's 1 minute 22 seconds. So not sure what happened to Terrell there that gave him that big upsetting moment. And you see some of the blank times. Part of that is from iRacing doing wild things and not outputting the right data today. We've seen a couple problems with that. Race Control has also commented on it. And the other part is if you do get those off tracks, it does not count that lap for it. And you have to go back out and try it again. But man, Nick Terrell having a great run here so far in the 81. This last time by shows him with a 1 minute 22.5 second lap time compared to Alex Penn's 1 minute 22.11. So Terrell not the fastest paced car on track right now, but he does have a comfortable 15.5 second gap over second place Alex Penn, allowing him to kind of take it easy, breathe a little bit, and not worry so much about putting down hot laps. We'll leave you on board with Nick Terrell for one lap. Let you listen to what it's like going wide open here on the Red Bull Ring on the LMP2s. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the action. Nick Terrell making it look easy around Red Bull Ring. That was a pretty fast lap by him, a 1 minute 21 second .99, so we'll call it a 1:22 flat, extending his gap over second place Alex Penn just by a little bit, but running very, very consistent. We've talked to these drivers before at other tracks like Road Atlanta and Daytona. They say the biggest thing you have to worry about is kind of getting comfortable and trying to push too fast, too late in a run. Next thing you can know, you can find yourself having an oh no moment. So all these drivers having to play it safe all the way around. Terrell doing a great job here today. We know he has the pace to run out front, do it consistently. And I think consistency is what's going to win or lose the championship for most of these drivers. They've got about 9 minutes left in the race. And all these guys at this point know, hey, we've got to put down consistent lap times, especially Terrell. This is his race to lose right now. He's got a very comfortable 16.4 second gap over second place Alex Penn, but he's still hot lapping right now. So Terrell does a 1 minute 21.6 seconds. He's got to be careful here and not push too hard. But look at this, DJ Weeks Jr., he's involved in an incident. And it's the second car we've seen slide out there on that inside of turn 2. So Nick Terrell, let's see what he can do. I mean, we've seen him getting faster and faster. His last lap was the fastest time he's put down the entire session so far. But he's going to keep pushing or realize, hey, I've got a very comfortable gap right now. Let's back up our corners just a little bit, take it easy, and not throw away a very large lead. These guys are all racers, though. They all want to push as hard as they possibly can for as long as they can. So it's tough to force yourself to slow down to go fast at times. Let's see, Nick Terrell, he's going to come up on, I believe that's DJ Weeks Jr. in the Corvette, number 997 it is. Those guys had to be very, very careful around them. We call them turtles affectionately, the larger speed bumps you see on the inside of the track. If you hit one of those, it can extremely unsettle your car. As Nick Terrell still doing a fantastic job. He's still flying. He did a 1 minute 21.9 his last lap. Alex Penn did a 1 minute 22.4. So unfortunately for Penn, he is still seeing that gap slowly fade away in front of him. It's about 6 minutes left to go in the session. As we get ready, Nick Terrell, he's about to complete lap 28 here at the Red Bull Ring as he rounds that right side corner into turn 9 and up the hill to click off his 28th lap. So he starts lap 29. And again, he slowed down a little bit. Nick Terrell, he did a 121.9 the lap prior. He does a 122.5 this time by. So realizing playing it safe is definitely the way to go here. Doesn't want to make any risky moves this late in the run. He's got a very comfortable gap. A 16-second gap that he has to make last for about 5 minutes to go in this race. So let's see, Nick Terrell in the LMP2. He's been the season leader so far and is in a good position to extend that lead even further over his friends and competitors. Alex Penn, meanwhile, second place in the number 30 machine. Still clicking off laps, never giving up, never surrendering. So good to see him out there still charging hard. That's what makes a great racer on and off the track. Those that stay in it and try and make it happen no matter what. Because Penn knows he had his mistake early on with that pit lane incident. He just needs an incident out of Nick Terrell. Not to mention, Alex Penn did go off track early on in the race and was able to maintain the safety of that number 30 machine and get back out there. But right now, Nick Terrell is just taking it easy, does a 122 flat his last time by. Playing it safe, just trying to bring home a win here. Alex Penn, you can hear that healthy V8 in front of him. It's such a cool experience having that many different tracks. So that is DJ Weeks Jr. in his Corvette, charging forward in the number 997. Weeks still leading his class. Doing a fantastic job keeping it out there, keeping it clean. Let's see when and where Alex Penn's going to make the move on lap traffic. Penn is about 5 seconds a lap faster than Weeks and his Corvette, so it won't be long before you see that LMP2 come blistering by as they take the right-hander up the start-finish line. 2.5 minutes remaining in this race as Nick Terrell still has quite the gap, a 17-second gap over second place Alex Penn. Jack Forsey in the number 74 still leading his class in the Daytona prototype. Johnny Eckert unfortunately having a rough night in the number 90 machine. He finds himself 1 lap down from his class leader, Jack Forsey. DJ Weeks Jr., he's leading his class in the Corvette, doing a great job. You hear that American muscle charging around the racetrack. A very fun car to drive. Very, I don't want to say beginner friendly, but it allows you to make mistakes that some of the more high-strung cars, such as the LMP2s, would definitely not tolerate. We'll take it back up front to race leader DJ Weeks Jr. Still doing a great job. He's getting around Johnny Eckert, the number 90. Eckert finds himself several laps behind race leader. Cody Ledford's coming into pit lane for a quick in and out. So let's see, this should be Nick Terrell. We're at 44 minutes into the race, so he should be taking the, I think he'll get one more lap after this. I think he'll get under the line before the checkered comes out. Terrell looking in a good spot to bring it home in that Taco Bell sponsored LMP2. He's going to make that right-hander, I think, for the final time. Yes, the checkered flag is out. So Terrell going to bring it home in the LMP2 class. Well done. A great performance here today. Nick Terrell makes it 3 in a row for the Legacy Sports Cars Series. We're going to try and get these drivers to finish their cool-down laps, and they will be joining us in the post-race interview room as we get ready to see what the drivers thought about tonight's event. Still a lot of fun, and don't forget, next week we're going to be back with even more action as we go to the Auto Club Speedway. Expect to see some bigger fields next week as a lot of the drivers, again, took off today to do the 24 Hours of Le Mans race hosted on the iRacing official events. And then Terrell going to burn it down with a well-deserved victory burnout here today as he makes it 3 in a row. Always a great time to see him up there doing a great job. Hold on to it. Don't tap that wall, Terrell, because those cars are very, very expensive. Do not want to be replacing. We jinxed it. A little bit of a wall tap there, but I don't think he's going to have to worry about the repair bill too much. Meanwhile, let's get Jack Forsey in the number 74 Daytona prototype. Forsey looked like a lot of clean track out there tonight, my friend.
Yeah, it was nice to, as much as I love a good battle, a nice clean, nice smooth race is always a positive.
Yeah, last week we saw you guys banging back and forth at Road Atlanta. I believe that was you and Eckert for I don't know how many laps in a row. And tonight it seemed like Eckert had a little bit of bad luck, and you were able just to click off lap after lap and stay very consistent. You got third overall today, as well as first in class. How are you feeling after that one?
I'm feeling exceptional. I don't really know what else to say. It's just it feels really good to put a relatively clean race together, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Well, you looked good out there. I know I'm excited for Auto Club Speedway. Forsey, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank, friends, fans, family, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Definitely to Ledford Construction and everybody who's putting this on, because without the waiving of the initial entry fee, I'm gonna be honest here, my cheap self probably wouldn't have entered. So big thanks to Ledford Construction for making sure this is put on, because it's really nice to have a place to drive these wonderful cars.
Well, Forsey, always a pleasure. We'll hopefully see you up in the podium room next week as well at Auto Club.
Thank you very much.
Up next, you've got class winner DJ Weeks Jr. in the 997 Corvette. A great run out there. DJ, looked like you just walked away from the competition.
Yeah, I mean, I was essentially by myself again for the third straight week, so I was just trying hard to put down good laps, and of course had a couple little ventures, but car still in one piece.
Yeah, I don't think anybody tonight walked away without any incident points or a little bit of a couple scary moments off track. I know everybody's trying to get the word out about GT1s, but how does it feel to navigate this internationally known track and good old American muscle Corvette?
Oh, it's fun, dude. I love Red Bull Ring on Formula One games, and the thing about it is you get the 1x from just going on the curves, but that's the actual groove. So if you don't take it, you're going to be really, really slow. So I don't know. It's kind of jack of all trades there.
Now, DJ, so speaking of curves, something we noticed, it looked like those turtles on the inside of turn 2 really got a few people, I think including you at one point. Does it just unsettle the car very badly if you hit them too hard, or what is it that causes it to be so treacherous?
Turn 2, that's the right-hander, slow right-hander. It's just you're going uphill, and then you're trying to cut back across, and you get really light. So, and then the next corner is downhill to the right. So it's just that section is just really tricky in general. But the track is really fun, so it just makes up for it.
Well, you made it look like it was a lot of fun, DJ. We hope to see you again in the booth next week. But before we let you go, if there's anybody out there watching you'd like to give a shout-out to, now is your time, my friend.
Yeah, of course, my team Outlaw. Johnny got here late, so he struggled a little bit. And, you put on the broadcast, and Joseph for putting on the series.
No, always a pleasure. DJ, we'll see you next week at maybe one of the oval races, if not here at the Legacy Sports Car Series.
Sure, have a good day.
And last but certainly not least, making it 3 in a row, it's going to be Nick Terrell in the number 81, bringing it home. Nick, how much fun did you have out there? It looked like you might have won it with a little bit of luck. It seemed like Alex Penn had some problems in the pits, and then you were able to maintain a comfortable lead for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, I was going to thank him for either having too heavy of that right foot or failing to hit his pit button or whatever happened. He wasn't for sure on it, but I just went ahead and took new tires at that point. He probably shouldn't have told me he did that, but it worked out. He showed his hand, and it's unfortunate. He should have definitely won that one there because we were both racing pretty clean and trading back and forth like a tenth to 2/10 per lap difference.
Well, nothing but friends here at the Legacy Sports Car Series. You did a good job, and you're right. You may not have had the overall fastest lap times, but you did put down the fastest lap of the race, a clean lap of 1:21.6. And most importantly, you were extremely consistent. I know towards the end of the run, you were getting faster and faster. Were you at all worried about pushing too hard late in the run and throwing away that big gap?
Oh, indeed, yeah. I didn't want to risk similarly to what I almost did last week at Road Atlanta, where I was trying to go too quick and get into the groove a little too much and overdrive or something. So I ran that decent lap, and then I was like, noticed I was accruing more incidents, so I just backed it off and was looking at my delta between myself and Alex, just making sure to maintain and finish the race.
Well, you did a very good, clean job at it, my friend. How are you feeling going into Auto Club Speedway next week?
That'll be interesting, I guess. I need to get some laps in probably, but we'll see how it goes and see if Alex's luck is any better next week as well.
We're rooting for you as always, my friend. Before I let you go, is there any friends, family, sponsors you'd like to thank that may be tuning in tonight?
Just as always, the group of guys that helped put this on, and we kind of work together and BS and just have, like you said, amongst friends. So it's just a good group. We'd like to get some more in and get some more people in the racing for next season, hopefully.
Awesome. We'll see you next week at Auto Club, Nick, but well done tonight, my friend.
Thanks as always, James. See you around.
And that is going to bring us home for tonight's event here at the Red Bull Ring. All of these guys doing a fantastic job. Always great to have these racers out here. Nick Terrell bringing it up front. Alex Penn finishing second overall and second in class. Jack Forsey bringing it home third overall, first in class. DJ Weeks fourth overall and then first in class as well. So smaller field as a lot of drivers were at the Le Mans 24-hour race, the virtual Le Mans, I should say. But on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, Ledford Construction, and the Legacy Sports Cars Series, I'm James East. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place.